Breaking right now, this woman wanted for killing her husband in Minnesota could be hiding out here. Investigators believe Lois Riess is armed and dangerous.
She went on the run late last night after emptying her husband's bank account. In the last 2 hours, we're learning that her car was found ditched here in Florida. There's the car. And now investigators think she's driving a stolen Acura that looks something like this. Only the Night Beat's John Carlos Estrada is connecting the dots for us live in Fort Myers tonight.
Chris, that's right. The U.S. Marshal's Office here in Fort Myers is working with their office in Minnesota to find Lois Riess here in Southwest Florida. New tonight, we know that the car she was driving was abandoned here in Florida. She is now driving a stolen vehicle with the Florida license plate.
They'll find you sometime. They're going to find you. They always do.
That's what the Marshal's Office in Fort Myers and Minnesota are hoping for, to find Lois Riess. The 56-year-old is accused of killing her husband, Dave Riess, on a rural Minnesota waxworm farm.
He was killed on March 21st. They have her on video at the bank on Thursday, March 22nd, and then also at the casino checking in on March 22nd.
Since then, Lois has been missing, and as of last week, there's been at least 38 leads on her whereabouts, some in Florida, specifically Fort Myers.
It'd be easy to hang out down here. It'd be easy to fit in, especially with all the tourists.
Deputies believe Lois stole over $20,000 from her husband's business, and Wink News spoke to David Riess's family over the phone.
Yeah, that's our biggest concern now because they won't release the body until she is found.
A new lead tonight. Investigators just recovered a white 2003 Cadillac Escalade belonging to Dave here in Florida.
I hope, if you can put word out there in Fort Myers and all that whole area in there. I know a lot of people in Minnesota, they could be heading back to Minnesota, from being out down there all winter long. And be on the lookout.
And deputies think she is driving now a 2005 white Acura TL with license plate number Florida Y37TAA. We posted pictures of her in the car she's believed to be in tonight on the Wink News app, so make sure you download that and share it with your friends. She is considered armed and dangerous, so call police if you do see Lois Riess. On the Night Beat, John Carlos Estrada, Wink News now.
Armed and dangerous and possibly looking for another target that looks like her. Lee County deputies say a Minnesota mom murdered Pamela Hutchinson here on Fort Myers Beach after murdering her own husband. These are surveillance pictures of Lois Riess on the beach. New tonight, investigators think her urge to feed the slots is feeding her cross-country carnage. And I beat John Carlos Estrada live on the beach with the new developments.
Amanda, that's right. We still don't know why Lois Riess was in Fort Myers Beach at the time, but eventually she ended up killing a woman, Pamela Hutchinson, in the building right behind me. She took off with her money, her ID, and her car, and I spoke to her family, who says Lois had a gambling problem and even stole money from her family members to do so.
The addiction is still there, so eventually she had to find a way to get money, and she hurt someone here in our community.
This Minnesota mom, Lois Riess, now wanted for 2 murders in 2 states, including one on Fort Myers Beach.
Riess's mode of operation is to befriend women who resemble her and steal their identity.
She's on the run tonight and known to have a gambling addiction. Even spotted at a casino a day after deputies say she killed her husband and stole $20,000 from him.
She didn't make any effort to start paying her sister back for the $100,000 that she stole.
Minnesota news outlets say in 2016, Lois Riess stole over $100,000 from her sister, who's a vulnerable adult. A judge ordered Riess to pay it back.
Collections was after her. I know that. I don't know if that tipped her over.
FGCU's clinical coordinator, Yaro Garcia, certainly thinks that's a likely possibility.
The extreme may be killing a person. It may be stealing an identity. It may be doing whatever it takes in order to be able to gamble one more time.
Garcia says a gambling addiction could explain Riess's killing of Pamela Hutchinson on Fort Myers Beach.
Ms. Hutchinson's purse was found to be in disarray, and all cash, credit cards, and identification appeared to have been removed.
What happens to people who have this type of addiction is almost the same as what happens with a heroin addict or any other drug. It's just as powerful.
And Lee County Sheriff deputies do not believe Lois is in the area anymore. She was last spotted in South Texas driving that stolen Acura that is registered under Hutchison's name. She may be even using Hutchison as an alias. Mexican officials are on alert. She might be crossing the border tonight. On the night beat, John Carlos Estrada, Wink News Now.
Checking tonight, new video of an accused cross-country killer walking into a bar, possibly on the prowl for her next victim. Take a look here at Lois Riess smiling in her mugshot. U.S. Marshals pulled her off a bar stool in Texas where she was drinking with a group of people. That's how she met Pamela Hutchinson here on Fort Myers Beach. Deputies say Riess killed her, stole her identity, and took off. The Night Beat's John Carlos Estrada is live on the island for us tonight. John Carlos.
Amanda, relief here on Fort Myers Beach after the capture of Lois Riess in South Padre Island, a community very similar to the one here. And new tonight, we are hearing from a South Texas bar manager that says it was her silver hair that gave her away. Lois Riess caught by undercover U.S. Marshals at a bar in South Padre Island.
She looked like normal, like an average person. What the heck is going on? You never think that something like that will happen here.
It was the employees who called 911 after they recognized Riess from CBS this morning. But this wasn't Riess's first stop last night. The grandmother on the run was nearly captured at another restaurant on the island.
She flicked it on it like this, and that's what it picked me up, was the color of her hair.
Riess is wanted for the murder of her husband. The Lee County Sheriff's Office believes she also killed Pamela Hutchinson on Fort Myers Beach.
Apparently, when she was arrested, she was drinking and having a good time. Absolutely no remorse whatsoever.
Fort Myers Beach tonight getting back to normal after being in the national spotlight.
Great sense of relief locally to know that we've done our job and she's going behind bars.
People are coming up to us, jumping up and down that Lois Riess got captured in Texas.
Happy, I'm sure it helps give the families of the victims some closure.
Tonight, Pamela Hutchinson's family happy to know Riess is off the streets.
I'm relieved. There is justice for my cousin now. And no one else is going to get hurt. And that's what Pam would be concerned about.
Do we know why Riess came to Fort Myers Beach in the first place?
Amanda, tonight, within the last 15 minutes, we are getting our first clue. We are hearing from a woman from the same city in Minnesota as Lois Riess, who actually lives here part-time in Fort Myers Beach. She says she may be the reason why Lois came down here. She says a few years ago, she invited the Riess family down here to Fort Myers Beach to stay with them. And she says Lois may remember that and came looking for a place to stay. Take a listen.
She looked at me as I stepped forward and said, "Can I help you?" And our eyes met, and I just, oh my goodness, my heart skipped a beat. It was Lois. I'm like, Lois Riess is in my driveway after hearing about the whole murder and everything that went on back in Blooming Prairie. So at that time, she shook her head and she said, wrong house, and got in her car and drove away. And I kind of pretended like I was still working, hoping she didn't think she recognized me. After she got half a block down, I ran upstairs and I said, Rod, Lois was just in our driveway. Should we call 911?
And she says that deputies were so worried for her family, they actually gave her a handgun to protect herself. Now, Lee County deputies, they are in South Texas tonight, and it looks like Lois Riess might be in front of a judge tomorrow morning, and they're hoping to extradite her back here. On the Night Beat, John Carlos Estrada, Wink News Now.
All right.